Give you Professor Knuth, and it is very difficult to introduce him, so I will just say two things. One, computer science, and second, actually, I'm very pleased to introduce you to the man who unknowingly recruited me to computer science. So, I was an electrical engineering major, and we secretly solved problems in his books, although they weren't in our curriculum. So I am sure for many of you that is the case. So please join me in welcoming.
Thanks so much for everybody, the warm welcome, and what I want to do mostly during the next hour is respond to your questions. It's something that I did at the end of all of my classes at Caltech and at Stanford because it was a tradition started by Richard Feynman. The last day of class, students could cut if they wanted to, but if they came, they could ask him any question on any subject except religion, politics, and the final exam. and anyway, but he had this tradition of answering questions so that people could find out what they were missing, what they hadn't. They paid their tuition, and it was their last chance to do something. Well, anyway, it's a nice way. It's fun for the person answering the question too, because you don't. You don't know exactly what your audience wants to hear. This way, you're matching what people want to know, but you're also you got the variety. So keeps me awake. But before I go into that, I just have to say what a thrill it is for me to be back in this room, which I come in here and I have all these memories of the great physics class that I did. But I also have to say I took a Western Civ class here during my I think it was freshman year, and no, it was English or something, but I don't know what they called it. But one of the things was we were supposed to give a speech. It was the first time in my life that I was supposed to give a public lecture, and I believe it was in this very lecture hall, and it really bombed. It was the most horrible speech I ever gave. I think there were 12 people in the room, and they were all sitting in the back row, and I'm facing all these empty chairs there, and I'm sort of muttering it, and my teacher put some pretty nasty remarks on my outline. So I gave two speeches that quarter, and the second one I got an A+ on, and it was about. If I remember correctly, it was about, I was trying to teach everybody the rules of a new game I had invented, and I did it as a demonstration lecture, and I had some things on the table, and the game was a little bit complicated because at some point you had to take a card and dip it in water and hop on one foot around the table and everything. And anyway, got a lot of laughs, and then I learned a little bit about how to involve the audience in the lecture. So today I want to respond to your questions, but also a huge thrill for me to have Fred Way here in the audience. I never thought I'd see him again in my life, but he was such a big influence in changing the whole things. I think Fred set up a unique environment at Case for undergraduates to work with computers. This was the only place outside of, except Dartmouth and Case, where before you got your bachelor's degree, you were allowed to touch computers. And not only that, but he let us, there were a dozen or so of us, and we were writing the software that everybody else on the campus was using. And Fred just trusted us to work things out, and we would stay up by night and day. And so he made this environment so many people in the computer industry were nurtured by this philosophy that he promoted. So let's have a hand for Fred. was quite a trick in those days. I mean, we had to have a lot of plumbers too, to the electronics. Al was the master of that. So, all right, now, so please ask me some questions so that I can tune what. I'm just going to try to give quick answers. Ask me any. You can even ask religion, politics, final exam, whatever. You know, and I'll answer it. But my answer might be I don't know. Yeah, okay.
If you were going to write another volume in the art of computer programming, what would the subject be?
If I were to write another volume of the art of computer programming, what would the subject be? Well, it's almost as if I'm on a book tour. Let me tell you what would. Okay, so anyway, the art of computer programming is sort of my life's work, and I graduated from Case, in 1960. So that's why I'm here now, 50 years afterwards. In the beginning of 1962. Somebody came to me and said, would you like to write a book? We want you to write a book about how to write compilers. And this had come out of, some people had heard that when I was at Case, I worked on software and started writing compilers. Anyway, make a long story short, I said, yes, I'd like to write this book. And then the book kept growing and growing because people kept discovering more and more good stuff. So volume 1 of Art of Computer Programming came out in 1968, and volume 2 came out in 1969. And I got ulcers in 1968. Volume 3 came out in 1973. And the interesting thing is, volume 4A is coming out in 2010. It'll make a wonderful Christmas present for your grandchildren and so on. This is about the basics, let's say. This one is about things that have something to do with numbers. This is about sorting and searching. This is about combinatorial searching, the beginning of the story of combinatorial searching. And there's something that people refer to as combinatorial explosion. And they usually mean that when you talk about combinatorial problems, the size of the problem keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, like an explosion, and takes off. Well, the same is true of the amount of papers and ideas that have come up with respect to how to solve these combinatorial problems. That's exploded too. And so volume 4 has exploded into who knows how many parts. But the first part, 150 pages worth of it is almost ready, and will be ready before the end of the year. I don't know, you can sort of extrapolate here when it's volume 4B going to be ready. Anyway, there is some progress on that score now. What was I going to say? I started as an undergraduate at Case. In my senior year, we had a visit from a man named Bose, Professor Bose, came to spend 1 year at Case, and he was also at that time getting famous for solving some combinatorial problems, and he inspired me to do combinatorial mathematics as a graduate student. I went to Caltech following year. Then